Hello, my name is Bim Lemony. I am an artist and welcome to my YouTube channel. In the description I have some links on immigration. I have links to my shop and links to my membership. So if you want to check out any of those things, go ahead and check those out below. But this month, we're going to be reviewing my Faber-Castell art crayons. I've not opened them yet. They were $24.99 at Michael's. They are water-soluble, semi-high-end art supplies. I have some of these art crayons, these water-soluble art crayons as well, that I'm going to compare the two to see how they stand up against some others. But yeah, so we're just going to have a nice little test of these colors and swatch some palettes, and then we're going to do a little art project at the end. Won't that be so fun? So let's strap in, shall we? First things first, let's just break into this bad boy and see what we are up against. Oh my. Oh my, they really don't want you pulling that out of there. Good lord. Oh, okay. So, here they are. They are very pretty, very vibrant. I really dig the little stick that cranks up at the end. That's quite nice. So it comes with two little sponges. It looks like a hard sponge and a soft sponge. I'm not exactly sure what these are gonna be for. Just blending, I assume. And then it also comes with a brush, which I was not expecting. So that's pretty cool. It's got a little triangle shaped base. So it's a little odd to hold, but it feels okay. It feels nice. So it comes with 12 colors here. I am mildly concerned about the amount of product in each one of these. I don't know how well you can really tell on the camera, but there is only about half a stick of product in these. So past this point, it's empty. It's all mechanics or just empty space. So there's only about that much product between my finger here and my finger here in each of these tubes, which is not a ton of product considering it was $25, though art supplies are getting crazy expensive nowadays, so it's really fun. It's really fun. Overall, I'm really pleased with the pigment. The color of all of these is so stunning. I'm really digging these colors. I hate getting packs of things and the colors are ugly. Give me pretty colors. These are nice. Though I do wish there was another purpley color that wasn't so close to this pink color. So kind of a bummer. Compared to the packaging though, pretty on brand, pretty close to what it says it is going to look like, so that's nice. Multi-purpose art crayons, water-soluble, creamy, vibrant color, odorless and non-toxic. So pretty cool. I'm excited to try these out and see what their opacity is like. So let's do some tests. I'm going to test their opacity. I'm going to test how well they layer or mix with each other. And then I'm going to test how they do with water. And then I'm going to compare them to a couple of my water-soluble art crayons that I already had. So let's do that, shall we? Crack open my sketchy book. Yeah. So let's just go right down the line, shall we? With all of these really pretty colors. So let's start with this one. It is called Passion Fruit. Now, pink art crayons are one of my favorite. Oh, so the lid is just this top part. Pink art crayons are one of my favorites. Pinks are one of my favorites in general for just adding a little bit of pick-me-up to a piece, a little bit of pizzazz, a little bit of color. So let's start with this. Ooh! That is pigmented, folks. Oh my god, that's so slay. Alright, well that's super pigmented. What a lovely pink color too. I'm a little nervous it's going to be really close to this color though, so a bit more pinky than the other one, so that's nice. There is some differentiation there that's definitely seeable. But again, I wish I had more of like a purple color instead of just straight into these blues, because I do love a good lavender. Don't get me wrong. Oh, that's lovely. So far, the pigmentation is pretty nice. So far, I'm pretty pleased with these. Ooh, I love a good dark blue color. Wow, that one's not that opaque. I'm gonna say it now. That one's not that opaque, which is a little bit of a disappointment because I do love a good dark blue. let's test this guy. Couple of greens. That one's also not super pigmented, but this like lemon yellow green is quite nice. Kind of a vibe. Super cute. And then there's a warm yellow color. Ooh, that's lovely. That's a really nice canary kind of yellow. And then there's also almost like this highlighter yellow. Ooh, she is. Wow, that is vibrant. That is a highlighter yellow. You can't even tell how bright that is in the camera. It looks yellower on camera than it does in real life. In real life, it's like a highlighter. And to be honest, I don't actually really like it when art supplies include a highlighter color. I just don't normally find a use for it. I'd much rather have like just a pretty like light, bright yellow than a highlighter yellow. But that's just me. But if you like this highlighter yellow, she's bright, she's vibrant, she's got it going on. Then we got a nice orange. I've been really into oranges lately, especially this redder orange here. Oh my god. Oh, so these two colors, a little closer than I would like for them to be, considering, again, I paid $25 for this. And then this bright, ooh, I hope this isn't a highlighter yellow or a highlighter orange. It looks like a highlighter orange, but I'm hoping that it's not. It's kind of a highlighter orange, and it's also not that opaque. I'm kind of disappointed in this one too. So this one and the blue one, not that opaque so far. So far. They might impress us with blending and layering, so we'll see. And then we've got this red. Ooh, that's nice. That's nice. That's nice. That's a red that I want to like bite into, you know what I mean? And then this one, I'm excited for this one too. It's like a pinky rouge kind of a color. Woohoo. So hopefully it's nice and pink. Oh, see, that color is so similar to that color. That's a bummer, dude. So we've got these three colors that are really similar. And I bet you they put them on opposite sides of the packaging so we wouldn't notice. But let's put these right next to each other because these are super close. So we've got this one. What is this one called? This one is bubblegum. This one is passion fruit. And this one is lavender. Yeah, the variation between these three, especially these two on the ends, not a lot. Not a lot of variation there. That's kind of a bummer. Let me try this orange and this yellow right next to each other again, because these two colors were also very similar. They're not that close, actually. Now that I put them right next to each other, they're farther than I thought they were. So, a decent variety of colors, not the best. A decent opacity, like this color, this passion fruit color, super opaque. This highlighter color, very opaque. This orange is pretty opaque. This red is very opaque, so that's nice. Some of the not so opaque colors look like this darker blue color, which, like I said, so sad. I love a good dark blue. Not the most opaque. Yeah, the blue is probably the one I'm most disappointed in, but now that I've done a swatch of all of them, let's see how they blend. So I'm curious to see how they blend. I always think that a sign or a test of how good a art product is how well it blends with other colors. I test colored pencils that way. I test really anything with a broad spectrum of color. It's just how well do these suckers layer on top of each other and blend. So that wasn't too bad. So I have this light yellow here on this side, and then this green, and in the middle they've kind of blended. Let's do one that we know it's gonna make a color, right? So let's do red and yellow, and let's see how well it blends to make orange. So I've got a red blob here, and I've lightened some on this side. I'm gonna layer it with this yellow and then pull it out. That did an okay job. It did not do the best job of blending, but let's see if these little sponges that they sent us can help with some of that. Let's see what these do. So it's kind of fun to blend with these sponges, actually. So, noted. Ooh, that's a really ugly spot, but like I'm really enjoying blending this. Let's blend this little red spot out. Ooh, it's just nice. Like it's so foggy looking. So this is the soft blender. Let's see what the hard blender does. See if that does anything different. Ooh, I like the hard blender better, which no surprise. I'm very heavy-handed in general. So they don't blend out super well, but benefit of the doubt, my sketchbook paper is probably also not the most ideal paper to try to blend on. But I'm really loving this little foam pad to blend these out. It's really fun. Let's do one more blend test. Let's see how the blending does with this one and this one. Again, oh, I'm so sad about the dark blue because I love a good dark blue. And that's just not that dark, is it? It's just not that dark. Couple of blobs, blob them together. Let's try to blend in between with this sponge. Ooh, that's pretty nice. I also really like that the blending takes away a lot of the texture. It really kneads it into the paper, and so I end up with more paper texture, which is nice. I didn't realize that it would do that necessarily. So very cool, that's nice. And then now I'm going to take one of my watercolor brushes and I'm going to see how some of these react with watercolor, which this again won't be the best test because I am using my sketchbook and it's not, you know, the most high quality paper or the thickest paper in the world, so it doesn't take water super well, but I do want to see just like how this does. So let's give ourselves an opportunity to win, and I'm going to take two pretty opaque colors and put them down here and add some water to it and see how they do. Hopefully the more opaque the crayon is, the more blendable it will be. Ooh, and look at that. It's taking really nicely to the water, blending just fine. It doesn't seem to have any resistance. It wants to blend with the water, in fact. I would say that. I'm gonna come out and say that it wants to. It wants to be blended with water. They blend nicely, even on my sketchbook paper, so that's a great sign. Good job. That's a huge plus. These look like they are blending with water really nicely. So let's do something a little funky and see what happens. So yeah, how it blends with water is really good. It does a good job blending with water and reacting and interacting with water, taking to water, and it doesn't seem to want to dry into like any type of film either. So that's nice. It keeps this really lovely matte that these two blended areas have down here as well. So nice. A plus on its ability to blend with water. So now let's try it up against my art crayons that I already had. So these ones are art crayons by a brand called Marabu, M-A-R-A-B-U. I like these a lot too. I got these at Michael's, and then immediately after I bought two, Michael stopped carrying them. So super cool of them. And then I'm going to compare it with this blue that I just bought. So let's see how they feel and interact. So here's the top is Faber-Castell and the bottom is this Marabu. Isn't that what it's called? Marabu? Marabu brand. So this Marabu brand feels butterier. It feels like it glides on a little bit smoother than this one does, just as an initial note. Yeah, so this one, definitely butterier feeling than this one. But these were also like $3 a piece, $3 or $4 a piece, so almost double the amount that these were, but they also might come with more product in them, not sure. So this is a softer, butterier texture than this one is, but that's not necessarily a good or bad thing. It just could be preference. This is a little bit more like a pastel, like a wax pastel, maybe. Now let's test this little brush, because I actually forgot to test this little brush that they send with this pack, which is pretty cool. They would not have to do that, but they do, so let's test it out for sure. So here is the Faber-Castell. Again, just really does a good job of blending with water, interacting with water, but that opacity, it's a problem. It's a problem. Stunning. So that went nicely. Let's try the bottom. So the bottom has a little bit more resistance to the water. It takes it a little bit more to kind of open up and let the water in, you know? And it also doesn't seem to want to blend as well. So this one does not seem to want to, at least on my sketchbook paper, does not seem to want to blend with water as nicely as the top do. So that's definitely a highlight for these, I think, is that if you like that watercolor kind of look, or you want the ability to blend it with water, these are great. These are great. These, in my opinion, in my experience with these are doing a good job of that particular criteria. So let's see. The colors are beautiful. Actually, kind of a bummer that there's no purple, which, listen, could I have seen that? Yes. Does this lavender look way more lavender than this lavender, though? That's supposed to be the same color? That and that is supposed to be the same color, bub? I don't think so. I don't think so. So fix that, first of all, because that is not that color. I wish I had gotten that color. That's not what I got. That's not what I got. So I am excited to test these out. These are a lot more colors than I have of these art crayons. I only have a handful of these, and most of them are blues and greens, and so it's exciting to have these colors as well, in addition to my art supplies that I already have. Okay, so this is unexpected. I'm wearing a hat because there are tiny black worms falling from the ceiling onto my work desk here. And to be honest with you, that's not really something I want to deal with. So, I've got a couple different options. I can either move all of this somewhere else, which don't know where I'm going to move it to necessarily, or we can speed run this a little bit, and I'll just give you my review real quick. And then we skip the craft. Are y'all gonna be mad if we skip the craft? But I got black worms falling on me, okay? So I'm kind of thinking I don't want to do the craft today. I'm kind of thinking I'll just give you the review and tell you what I think. So if you're really mad and upset about that, let me know, and I'll make a short form content out of it instead of a long form content, because I don't want to sit here getting black worms landed on me, okay? I don't want that. I don't want it. I've seen 3 so far. 2 have landed on me. 1 did not. Nasty, stinky, rotten. So, also, do you like my dinosaur chicken nugget earrings? I made them myself. I hope you like them. Okay, here's my review. Here's my overall. The pros and the cons and my ratings. So A through F on color, opacity, layering, water, and overall. Okay, so pros, it blends really well with water. They blend lovely with water. They take to it nicely. Easy peasy rice and cheesy. They're very bright. All of these colors are super duper bright. Nice packaging. These little packages, these little containers that they come in are cute and nice, and they feel good, like they work nicely. And it comes with blending brushes and a paintbrush too, which is pretty nice. They didn't have to include these things, but they did, so that's cool. You get those included with the purchase. Cons. The cons that I felt for this product were its layerability. It didn't layer super well. When I put, 2 colors next to each other or on top of each other, they didn't really mesh super well, so that's kind of a bummer. Duplicate pinks. We got 3 pinks that are very similar to each other, 2 oranges that are similar to each other. Come on. If I'm gonna get 12 colors, I want to get 12 colors. And also, there's no black and white. I realized this in between takes, there's no black and white in this, so that's kind of a bummer too, because white I use all the time. No lavender. That's a personal thing, but they have no lavender. No like true purpley lavender, which is, again, a bummer. And then the dark blue, a lack of lavender, the dark blue not really being bold and vibrant like I wanted it to be, and then just like the duplicate pinks. So those are my issues with some of the colors. But yeah, those are the pros and cons of my initial use through it. And then my grading scale is for colors. For the colors that I got, I gave it an A-, because it included 2 neon colors, which I'm not really an artist that uses a true neon, so I'd rather have a yellow and I'd rather have an orange than a neon yellow and a neon orange. That's just me. And there's no black and white, and there's a couple duplicate colors, so the color is an A-. But the colors that you do have, that lime green, the greens, the yellows, the pinks, like they are nice colors. I do like the colors. Visually pleasing for sure. So A- for colors, because they're overall really nice and bright, but a couple of neons and a duplicate pink, come on. Opacity, I gave it a B, because as you know, that blue, she was disappointing. But some of the other ones, the opacity also wasn't that impressive, but it was okay. Like I said, $25 for a higher end. It was about on par. I would think maybe a little bit more opacity, a little bit more oomph I would have expected, but it wasn't bad, so I gave it a B. Layering, probably to me was the most disappointing. I gave it a C+. It layers okay. It doesn't mix super well. Layering only seems to work with like colors, so like a light blue and a dark blue next to each other, they can kind of blend, but when we tried to do the yellow and the red to make orange, that just didn't layer. It didn't blend at all, like hardly at all, so kind of disappointing there. So I gave it a C+, because it's not awful, it's not abysmal by any means, by any stretch of the means, but it's, you know, could be better. And then how it mixes with water, like I said, that was one of the pros, so I gave that an A+. It couldn't improve, I don't think. So I think the way that it layered with water is probably the best that it could layer with water. So A+, good job, A+. If you're wanting something like that, these sticks that you can layer with water, it's pretty nice for that. So overall, I put all these grades into like a little grade calculator thing, and it told me overall is a B+, which I think is on par for this little set. It's a B+, it's pretty good. Not bad at all. You'd be definitely satisfied to get this, but there are some things that it could improve on. Color variety, opacity, there could be some improvements. So overall, B+. If you're wanting to get something like this, I think it's a cool like entry level. Like there's a lot of colors here you can do a lot with. Like again though, no black, no white, but good entry level type of situation. It was a little bit surprising to see Faber-Castell kind of pulling back on the opacity because their colored pencils are like the best of the best of the best. So these being not that great, kind of a disappointment. Overall though, pretty happy. I think a B+ is a fair grade for these. So if you're interested in getting these, $25 at Michael's, but you could probably get them other places as well, I'm sure. And you can order them online, absolutely, directly from Faber-Castell. And I'm sure you'd be happy with them. They're very bright, they're very pretty. And like I said, there are a lot of other colors as well. So you don't have to just get this one set of colors. But yeah, I am gonna say this is gonna be all for me for today. I do not want to deal with the black worms anymore. I'm kind of surprised that there's not been another one fall since I've started recording this because, like I said, in like a 25-minute period, 3 of them fell from the ceiling onto my desk, or onto me. So very fun. But yeah, overall, I think that's where I'm gonna land today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for participating, commenting, liking, hitting that bell so you know when my next video comes out. And like I said at the beginning, if you want links on immigration, how to keep yourself safe, that's in the description. If you want links on all of my goodies, my shop, my membership, my commissions, all of that stuff, link in the description. You guys are the best. I hope you guys have a good August, and I will see you in September. Okay, bye.